Eighth step for success in online dating. All right. So first of all, step one, don't rely on dating apps alone. And one of the things I want to share with you, this is, about 2/3 of the online profiles you see are dead. They're not reading their mail.
Or
Okay,
they're
so
fakes.
just say again.
Or they're fakes.
Or they're fakes, right? So, there are definitely spammers. Don't send your dates large amounts of money. This should be obvious. And believe me, I friends of mine have been caught in this. So some of these are quite persuasive. Okay, so number one, a lot of dead profiles out there. Don't limit your dating to online alone. Get out, hit the streets, go to meetup, go to dances. Tell all your friends you're single and looking. Use your network. All right. This is a particular problem for me because I'm terrified of leaving the house. All right, and I talked about this also in the first video related to authentic relating, and this is something that I need to address as well, and I'm starting to address it. Okay, second, learn authentic relating. So as I say, authentic relating, it's the killer app for all relationships. I'm batting 1,000 on all my relationships right now, largely thanks to the authentic relating practice. You do this, you learn authentic relating by essentially going to groups such as this. There's groups called circling in most cities. So going to circling is is one very, very powerful way to learn authentic relating. And there's also online circling that's available. And, educate yourself. There's comparable movements. Nonviolent communication is very good as well. They will teach you sort of the language of emotional communication. If you don't know the language of emotional communication, if you can't give a good empathy statement, if you can't give a good reflection or an impact statement, if you can't own your feelings or your experience in talking to someone,
time to learn.
You're not exactly. You're only going to go so far. So that's number two. Okay, number three, learn sexual communications, and that means to state your sexual needs early and upfront in relationships. Now, this is a challenge for a lot of people. This has been a challenge for me. And I'll give a specific example. I'm looking for a partner who's sexually submissive. And this is important to me. I'm kind of a hardcore dom, all right? And up until recently, I did not say that in my profile because I was certain that it would turn women off, all right? And I've changed recently, and I say it in my profile, and I'm no longer afraid of turning women off because if they're turned off, they're probably not meant for me. Okay, this is particularly true in the case of men. It's called Polarization. So there's a very, very good book by Mark Manson. It's called Models. It's probably the best dating book for men. And he talks about this concept called polarization, which is like you want to make yourself more attractive to the ones who are into you by being you. And this may sound harsh to say, but you want to make yourself repelling to the ones who are not into you so that they don't waste your time and you don't waste their time. So, for example, if a woman rejects you as a man, shall we say, the enlightened attitude is to be happy for all the time and money she saved you by stopping you in your tracks right out the gate in your attempts to love her. All right? That's one reason you need to learn sexual communication. All right? 4, understand sexual polarity. And we've talked a little bit about this already, but if you're a man, this means essentially initiating, making pleasurable offers, such as, do you want to go to, see XYZ music concert? Do you want to go on a bike ride? Make pleasurable offers, respectfully take the lead in terms of activities, pay for her if you can. And if you can't, try and find things to do that don't cost money. Okay. And so you take the lead in terms of initiating activities on the other hand, but you follow her lead in terms of the structure, in terms of the communication and validating her emotions and preferences. All right. So you're trying to be attuned to what she wants on a date. And this may sound obvious, but I'm going to say it nonetheless. Right. Whereas if you're a woman, basically approve of him, find him right. Okay. Don't get into an argument or fight with him about things, at least not on the first date. Okay. So that's the essence of sexual polarity. All right. And if you're a woman also, and we talked about this in the sexual polarity as well, it's like at a certain level, a man's deepest desire, if you're a woman, is to support you and make you happy. And he doesn't always know how to do that. So the best thing you can do for a man, if you're a woman, is to help him by communicating your needs clearly, by approving of him, finding him right. You know, people change a lot faster in the direction that you want or that they want for themselves when they are first accepted as they are. This is one of the foundational principles of authentic relating. So that's, you know, that's sexual polarity in a nutshell. And I'll be happy, Rebecca, if you have anything to add to that.
Yeah, I just want to observe that my body has just really settled into my seat. Like I feel a calmness and a centeredness now listening to you say all of that. And it's spot on. And I want to add the piece about approving of the guy, appreciating him. The first time I heard that men just want to open their hearts and give women everything and take care of them, I was like, that's not my experience. I did not believe it. And yet I found it to be true. And when we say appreciate and acknowledge, it's not become a doormat. When I began to name and appreciate, it was for me to notice how good my life was. You know, because what you focus on grows. So every time so say a man says to me, would you like to go to a concert? I can say, I love that you're dreaming up ideas to do. And what's really fun for me is this kind of music. Or I'd rather spend our first date somewhere where it's easy to hear you. So you praise them, then you offer some concrete suggestion about how they can win with you, and then you praise them again when they do it. And they go, oh, that's cool. Well, I know this little space on the beach where we can just get a drink. And the band comes in an hour later.
Then you say, that's so perfect. You read my mind. How did you do that?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And the interesting piece, I think, is, you know, learning how to hear rejection. First of all, I love what you said about making them repellent. I mean, that's a really strong word, but it's about discernment. If you're upfront and authentic from the get-go about what you are looking for, then you don't waste time. And there was something else, and I completely lost the train of thought, but it's about discernment. You know, so when someone rejects you, they're not really rejecting you. What they're doing is giving you the gift of their honest truth about what they're about. And if they're not a match, cool, someone else will be. You know, the more we're willing to show up as who we really are and be vulnerable and come from that authentic space, the more people will self-select if they're for us or not. It's not about having 8 million dates. It's about having a couple of good ones, right? So, You're doing great. Carry on.
Thanks, Rebecca. Okay, 5. Write your profile. Well, first of all, get some good photos. Get some good photos if you can.
Not bathroom selfies.
Right.
Not bathroom selfies. Ask someone to take a picture.
And also, ideally, you know, some nice photos of you, and some nice photos of you hanging out with your friends, and some photos of you doing things that you enjoy doing. Okay. You know, most people, that's the first thing they're going to look at. So make it easy on them. Okay. And write your profile in a way that this is a tricky exercise, but, you know, write your profile in a way that aligns with the relational reality of the opposite sex, which is basically understanding sexual polarity. All right. And show some vulnerability, show some humility. All right. Don't make it sound like you think that you're God's gift to women. And this is tricky because it's important to show some vulnerability, but maybe not too much, right? And it's important to, if you love women and you want to take care of them, say it, because that's what women want to hear. All right. I don't know.
Just really want playmates and you want to get laid. Cool. But be upfront with that. Don't tell us you're looking for your one and only.
Right. Right. Be honest and be authentic. And if you have certain particular sexual, again, you got to be, most, talking about sex sort of early on in a dating profile is generally not a good idea. But if there's something that's really important to you, like in my case, as I shared, like I'm sexually dominant. This is important to me. And so I say it, right?
The beauty of OkCupid is it gives you the opportunity to answer a lot of questions like that so that the algorithm will match you up with people who dovetail.
Right.
Also.
Okay. Number 6, you got to work it, guys. Okay. This is not a one-time deal. So you at least 2, 3, 4 times a week, go on the sites, go through the profiles and respond. Right. And Continuity, it's going to take some time, and this is the problem. And you really and again, once again, golden rule: if you're not having fun, don't do it. You got to do something else. If you're not having fun, it's not a good way to go. But basically, what you do as a and I'm giving you the male experience here. Women's experience may be different. The women's experience in online dating is that if you're attractive, you're going to get overwhelmed with male. It's going to be crazy, and if you're not, you may not get anything. Like as a man, I get very, very few people reaching out to me. And I also get a very, very low number of people responding to me. So I get maybe 1 in 10, 1 in 15. You got to accept that. It's the name of the game. It's very powerful, but it's not instant love. It's not instant enlightenment. It's not instant success. I personally have not found any way that's better than online dating for meeting compatible people. And I've had to frequently look at myself and sort of my desire for instant results, instant connection, instant relationship, but it just doesn't work. Okay. Number 6, or I can't remember, I've lost track. Read their profiles to the end and give them an intelligent reflection. Okay. Let them know how they make you feel. Let them know anything that stands out for you. You sound articulate and intelligent. I love the fact that you're a traveler. I also was in Nepal last year. And ask them a question. What do you, I'd love to meet you for tea, or I'd love to have a video date. What do you think? Mm-hmm. Right?
I want to know that you read my profile. So something, and if I ask a question back, I'd like a real answer. That's also how you can tell who the fakers are. They usually don't have an answer. They don't answer your question like, what's the background in your picture? And sooner or later you find out they're quote unquote in the military. I don't know if there are as many fake women as there are fake men. There are a lot of fake men.
Okay, and finally, don't write them a novel. First of all, given the fact that 2/3 are going to end up in dead mailboxes, it actually doesn't take that long to read a profile and give an intelligent reflection. And you're going to be looking for keywords. You're going to be looking for compatibility, right? This is, basically common sense. I'm looking for connection keywords, essentially. I'm looking for intelligence. I'm looking for vulnerability. I'm looking for some kind of social political interest or engagement. And obviously, I like how they look, right? Like all men, right? Mm-hmm. So that's pretty much what I suggest. And sort of my final thing is, when at all possible, suggest a video date. And this is a very, very important part of my dating strategy is you want to increase the flow of people through your life, all right? And you want to get them on video or in person as soon as possible. And a lot of women resist video chat dates. And there's a number of reasons for that. And I've written about this. I have a whole article about this. It's called, my story in the man-woman game, in which, I go somewhat more into these distinctions. But many women will resist video chats. And you have to be somewhat flexible. But, for me, if a woman accepts a video chat, that's like bingo. I'm right there. Like this is my first test of compatibility. If they resist a video chat, I might play with them, or I might just kind of politely drop them. Because the bottom line is I will not go on a 2-hour date with a woman, buy her dinner before I have any clue whether I'm going to enjoy her for more than 5 minutes. And that's why video dates are so powerful, because you can, you go for 10 minutes, you go for 15 minutes, you leave it with a high feeling, you're practicing authentic relating, you're making them feel seen, understood, you're piquing their interest in you, so that your first date is going to be way more interesting and powerful, right? So that's
first in-person date, because really the video date is a date.
Your first in-person date, obviously you want to meet in person, but video is pretty damn good in terms of establishing compatibility and, affinity. Okay.